Alrighty, hello again. This is the second part and of the food webs and biomes section. We'll be learning about biomes right now. Okay, so a biome is essentially it's a region that has living organisms, has non-living organisms, and also includes environmental factors. Okay, so I'm going to be explaining all these, but how we're going to look at it is kind of like, let's say you see a cell, okay, but then you zoom out a little bit, and then that cell is part of a leaf. You zoom out more, that leaf is part of a branch. Zoom that out, the branch is part of a tree. Okay, so we're going to be looking at small things, and then watch it like zoom out, and then we'll see more and more broad picture. Okay, so a biome has living things, has non-living things, and includes um, environmental factors. Okay, so the main things what we're looking at is like kind of my analogy earlier. The cell is the very simple thing. Okay, so like an organism. Okay, an organism is one thing that's living. Okay, um, you can have an organism that is single cell, like a bacteria or something. We call those prokaryotes. Or you could have an organism that has multiple cells, like, animals, people, just all that. And we call them eukaryotes. Okay? So an organism is just one living thing. Okay? A community is where there's multiple species that are living together. Okay, so it's like if you have a rabbit, that's fantastic, awesome, good for you. But if you have two rabbits, that's not a community. Okay, you need two different species, so like a rabbit and a chipmunk. Okay, you have them live together, and then you have a community. Okay. So just say organism is the first part. Okay, community is the second. And then you zoom out a little more. You add another factor. Okay, non-living things in an ecosystem. Okay, so an ecosystem has things like in the community. Okay, the community is the living species part. Okay, you have living things and non-living things. So what do I mean by non-living things? I mean like air, like water, and like soil. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So an ecosystem has living things and non-living things. Okay, so that's zoom out. Okay, so at the analogy, it's like organism is like the cell, the community is like the leaf, ecosystems like the branch. Okay, like we're just zooming out because all these different things are connected. Okay, so a biome has all of the above, has living things, non-living things, but it also includes things with environmental factors. Okay, so what I mean by that is, it includes like factors like rainfall, temperature, what kind of trees there are there any trees, like just kind of like the geographical aspects of it. Okay, so a biome is the fourth part, and just so you know, you're going to be hearing me say habitat a lot. So what a habitat is, it's down here. Sorry, it's a little star. A habitat is the physical area where organisms live. Okay, so like the habitat of a fish is in the water. The habitat of a bird is in its nest. Okay, or like in its nest, in Wisconsin or in wherever the bird lives. Like the physical area where the organism lives. Okay. And then there's also this term niche that is could be kind of tricky. That's another star again, unfortunately. A niche is okay. Some organisms are better adapted to live in certain places than others. Okay, so like a little analogy is um like basketball. I can play basketball. I know I know the rules how to play it, but so does Michael Jordan. Okay, so we can both play basketball. Okay, but he is significantly better at it than I am. Okay, Why is that? Because he's a lot taller. He's more probably coordinated, hand-eye and all that. And he's been playing basketball for a longer time. Okay, so he has these adaptations, or like some animals have these adaptations to make them very suited to live in these environments. Okay, so how to put that in terms of animals? It's like, for swimming. Okay, humans can swim. We go to the pool, we go to the beach. Humans can swim, but so can fish and sharks. Okay, the thing is, fish and sharks have special adaptations. Like fins and gills and different respiratory systems. They have these things so they can adapt and persist in swimming. Okay, so just because two things can do the same thing, sorry, that sounded very unhelpful. Okay, just because two different organisms or species can have the potential to live in the same environment doesn't mean that they're both equally suited to live in such. Okay, so that's kind of thing. Like Michael Jordan is in a niche with basketball. Okay, that's his niche. He's very good at it. It's not really my cup of tea. Okay, so the fish's niche. The fish has a niche for swimming. Okay, that's so. Okay, am I getting this point across kind of well? Where you make it so just it's a place where certain species are very much made to persist. Okay. Okay, so back to the different orders. Okay, so you have biomes that contain all those other factors, ecosystem, community, and they're sorted into, like, I'll call them the big six. There's 6 main biomes. I'll double check with your teacher because they might include like other ones, but there's 6 major ones that everyone's got to know. Okay, and then the biosphere. Biosphere is the concept of it's very simple. Okay, so you have biomes, these different regions that contain something. So what contains these areas? Okay, what is big enough to contain the whole, different regions? It's simple. The planet. Okay, so the only biosphere on Earth is Earth because it contains all the biomes. Okay? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so here's the big 6. Okay, the first one is the tropical rainforest. Okay, so based on the picture, I tried to get pictures that represented these well. The tropical rainforest, if you look at it, it's got a lot of vegetation. It's got, a lot of different animals. Like you got amphibians, you got birds, you got, mammals. You just got all kinds of stuff there. Alright. But little fun fact about the rainforest is it has like this, it's almost like a roof of leaves. It's got all these trees that it forms like, it's called a canvas. So it's kind of like a roof over the rainforest that kind of just covers. I don't know, just a little fun fact. So yeah, you got the rainforest. It has a lot of rain, obviously, because it's named after it. So yeah, rainforest gets a lot of rain, very humid. Okay, I mean just keep these kind of climate factors in mind. Okay. The second one is the temperate broadleaf or mixed forest. Okay, you might call these different things, and that's fine. Just make sure you know which one is what. Okay, so temperate broadleaf forest is, if you look at it on the horizon, there's mountains, there's like a river, you got trees. It's very different from the rainforest. Okay, because the trees are different. It has, mountains along it. You can just see based on the picture that the culture is very different. If you ask your teacher, she can give you like very specific, differences between all these, but that's something that you'll have to talk with them. Okay, the third one is the deciduous forest. Okay, The deciduous and the temperate broadleaf forests are very similar. I believe the primary difference between them is the kind of trees that reside inside of them. Okay, so I mean, the deciduous forest is, it's like the typical, RV, let's go to Yosemite kind of deal. It's like the typical forest. Okay, like the campsite forest. Okay, so you don't have as many trees as the rainforest. Okay, it's not necessarily by mountains, but it gets plenty of sun. It's often warm. Okay, which is a lot different from the fourth one, the taiga. Alright, the taiga is, as you see, this one is currently around, I believe, a lake, or maybe, yeah, I believe it's a lake, but that doesn't mean all of them are. Okay, what a taiga is, it's kind of a transition between the forests and the tundra. Okay, because the taiga is cold. Okay, if you look at the mountains, it's got snow on it. Okay, so taigas are cold, which is different from the climate of all three of them above. Okay, but it's not as cold as the tundra, the fifth one. Okay, the tundra is kind of an extreme version of a taiga. Okay, because it's kind of like an Arctic wasteland. Okay, if you look at it, there's no trees. Okay, it's very open, very broad. You see the mountains just coated in snow. Okay, tundra is really freaking cold. Okay. Just a little thing. I believe it's permafrost. There's some places in tundras where the ground is permanently frozen. Also, this may not be entirely accurate, but I believe that some plants have created some kind of chemical so that they can resist, freezing over, or if they freeze over, they can still survive. Which is, it's kind of cool. Just, again, a little fun fact. Okay, and then the last one is a desert. Okay, very different from all the others. Okay, it's very hot. It's very dry. It's also barren. But again, it's a hot barren versus a cold barren. Okay, so all these different climates are very different from one another. But, they're also interconnected. Okay, so, pretty much everything roams all over variance. Okay, got all kinds of people, got all kinds of animals, got all kinds of environments. Okay, so these are the main 6 that you're gonna need to know. Okay, but what contains these 6 areas? Simple, the world. The world does. So this is the biosphere. Okay. Oh look. Wow. Alright everybody, look. That's where I live. That's my house. Okay, so now you should be amply equipped to go take on the world and people who don't know anything about biomes, so go get 'em. Alrighty.